Hi, today we're going to talk about overcoming anxiety, depression, and trauma disorders. You hear me a lot talk about resolving symptoms, and but today we're going to talk about the whole disorder. And so we're going to do a little step back and look at the whole thing, not just the little parts of the thing, of the disorders. And so I'm Rachel McLeod. I'm a mental health therapist, emotional wellness coach, and a practitioner mentor. And I specialize in doing the helping people do the brain work for resolving symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress. The brain has a beautiful process for this, and this process does sometimes, often, especially with earlier trauma, get blocked and it doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work to resolve the disorder or the symptoms. And so we need to get that unblocked. That's the work I specialize in doing, and helping the brain complete the work that it is designed to do to keep us healthy and well and to continue to create our health and wellness. And so that work is very simple, but when we talk about going after and resolving disorders, that it becomes a little bit more complex. We want to add some more steps into this because we don't just want to be fighting symptoms. We do need to resolve symptoms, but we also need to go deeper than that. And so I want to show you this from my perspective. I'm like the mechanic in there, helping people get in there and do the work and get the wires wired right and get things up and running. So I want you to see I have a very functional process for this, and I want to give you a look at it. Okay, so I see this in three parts, and this is based on the DSM-5 and how we meet criteria for a disorder. The first part is we have symptoms. So we have symptoms of anxiety, depression, or traumatic stress. This includes flashbacks, excessive worry that you can't control, loss of motivation, low mood, right? So there's all these symptoms, and there are a number of them. If you've got so many, three or four in one category, you get this diagnosis. If you got another in this one, you get this one, and if you've got this combination, you get that disorder. You're meeting criteria for those things, but there's more to a disorder than just the symptoms. The symptoms then need to create either emotional distress, significant emotional distress, or two, impairment in an important area of daily living and function in your life. And so if you have symptoms but you're not impaired, you're just a regular human. That you're got symptoms, but you're not impaired. Let me say that differently. I said the regular human part threw me. If then you don't have a disorder. You have symptoms, right? And those we absolutely want to resolve. But most people that have significance, that are causing significant distress or impairment, you already know that anxiety, depression, or traumatic stress are blocking you from living your best life. And so when we talk about overcoming disorders, we need to resolve symptoms. We need to the distress part, the symptoms causing distress. As we do this more, this is where we start working. I start working with people. We start going after symptoms because we want to create more emotional availability and physical availability and mental availability to be able to start doing some deeper work. So we start resolving symptoms. What will happen naturally there is as you resolve enough symptoms, you also the symptoms don't distress you as much because by this point, if you're working with me, you've also realized that your symptoms are your brain telling you exactly where it cannot create higher level function, higher experiences, higher ways of being, and it's stuck. Your brain is telling you exactly where that process I was talking about gets stuck. That's good, and so now we can actually partner with the brain to get that unstuck and get the brain resolving what it needs and wants to resolve. So we actually start viewing symptoms as opportunities and brain function as just needing support. And so the actually being distressed about your symptoms reduces tremendously. And by the time we're finished, you're pretty much masterful with your emotions. And there's not a lot that can kick you around in your inner world. So So we're really taking a strong partnering stance with our symptoms. And that we do not by, I don't expect people to believe me. I expect their system, their mind body system, to prove itself to them by actually resolving symptoms. And so as their symptoms resolve, they're like, huh. And so they're learning from their own inner world what's going on, what they can expect, what they can rely upon. And this process is very reliable. The brain resolves these things beautifully. And when people get enough experiences with that, the confidence begins to grow naturally, because that capacity, that capability, that feeling like I'm capable, which is not there in the beginning. When we have disorders, we have no control, we don't have skills, we don't have tools, we're actually actively running from our symptoms. And so this starts to change. But these two pieces are not enough to resolve a disorder. We also need to repair function in the areas of life that are impaired. And so that is the final piece. And so, as we're starting to do these things, now we want to look at the anxiety was impacting the marriage. Well, we need to resolve that. The marriage needs to be functioning well without anxiety impairing it, right? So that's where we're doing brain work in there, because the brain's job is to create wellness in higher level ways of being, and so we are helping the brain take out old ways of being or immature, undeveloped ways of being, and start building in maturation, mastery, and skillfulness in relationships, and so in their marriage. So we'll actually use their actual marriage to start getting their brain to do the healing work, to build the actual programming and skill set to make the marriage thrive. So we need, and I'm watching to see evidence of this. So, and I do this brains, I wish we would do this work before we did marriage therapy, because if you don't have the brain function to create health and wellness and skillfulness, if your brain can't do that for you, it's really hard to go into marriage therapy and learn things. As a matter of fact, sometimes I have clients that are working with a marriage therapist, and their symptoms are so get so exaggerated in that I have them pause and we do some more work to get their nervous system up and running and their skill set up and running and more symptoms resolved, so that they can then go back in and function at a higher level and actually get the benefits of marriage therapy. But let's say work is compromised. Maybe social anxiety is compromising the work situation. We need to resolve all the symptoms in there to make the work environment, that social anxiety, so that they can go to work and thrive. And so if they're depressed and they can't get out of bed in the morning, we're not just resolving symptoms and being okay with distress. We actually want that. We know we've got the win when anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress are not keeping them in bed all morning. That ability to get out of bed, have energy, have motivation, have a desire for living, have right. One of the things is losing interest in activities for depression. So we want to see that turn back on. We want to see the brain turn it on, brain. There's strategies for this. And so this part is really, really important. This is a part I don't see many therapists really making sure happen. And I don't know, maybe I just understand the assignment differently, but I want this known for you all out here, because we're not just symptom chasing. We're not just here. We need to come into all the things. And so a lot of times people will go to therapy and they'll resolve some symptoms, but their marriage is still it can't function well. They can't resolve conflict. They're still screaming at their children. They're still avoiding people at work. They're in procrastination mode. That's making them not be able to get their work done. We need to resolve that. We need to restore function in those important areas of their life. And we can use the brain to do this. The brain's job is to do this. The brain's job is to create function in every area of your life. What's up, brain? Why are we not doing that? And tell me, and then let's resolve it. And we can guide the brain through that process over and over and over again, and then restore function in those areas of people's life. And this is why I say that I want your life to work. It's not just about symptoms. It's not just about inner world mastery and feeling and being in that leadership, self leadership role, which it is about that too. And we need your life to work. Your brain's job is to do that. And by the time we're done doing our brain push ups, this brain work, we want to see the boxes checked that the anxiety, depression, and or traumatic stress is no longer impairing any area of function. And when that is taking place, we no longer meet criteria for anxiety, depression, or trauma disorders, right? We have healthy function. We have helped our brain build healthy function, right? And so, and then on the other side of that, I wrote it down in a way that I like it. And so I'm just rechecking that. But I want to say on the other side of disorder land, are other things that you might need to deal with or address so that you're really thriving and functioning, and your brain will likely lead you to them because it's now got all this health and wellness built, and it can see the gaps where you need new things, like maybe you need some information, and you might find yourself taking classes. You might find yourself doing higher marriage therapy stuff, getting more skills, building more skill set, mastering things. This is where we move into personal development land. This is healthy people are here. We are constantly growing and learning. But if your brain actually cannot learn and grow, that's a problem. And when you have symptoms of anxiety, depression, and traumatic stress, that's the brain saying, I'm not in a state where I can learn and grow. I cannot use the information moving through me to create health and wellness, to create new ways of being. I cannot use my own natural processes to do what I need to do so that we're thriving. And so we need to get that there. And that naturally leads into personal development, expansion, growth, dream life creation stuff, and desire based living as opposed to fear based living. Right? That's another talk for another time. I actually made a video about that shift. You can find that in my YouTube page. It's a good one. But the work is not the work. It's not that it's not done. It's just that when we resolve the disorder, we still are people that have growing to do, and our brains use stress as food. Right, so we don't want to be out here above the distress levels so that we're over distressed. This is where we get re-traumatized, burnout. This is dysfunction land, and then we've got this nice stress level here. This is where brains are like, I'm good, I'm well fed. Underneath this down here, this area down here is I don't have enough stress to thrive. And so this is we will malfunction down there. There's tons of things that'll happen down there. I'm not opening that bag right now because most people watching my videos are way up here over the top, right? We're not even down here, so we don't need to go there. But this stress level right here, this is where brains just naturally start reaching for new obstacles, new mountains to climb. Maybe our relationships are really great, and all of a sudden it says, I want to also do this. I want to create this, and I want to experience this with my children, or I want to do this at work, and I want to go for that position. There's a natural growth that happens after that creates stress. And by this time, you're pretty masterful at helping the brain process stress if it needs it. So it's pretty cool stuff, but we've really got to do the first part of overcoming this disorder so that we're ready to go in personal development, growth, thriving, excitement, curiosity, those sorts of things. So, and I really want to share with you that this work is done very differently than what we're doing in traditional talk therapy, which is really great for this area of life where we're in personal development, personal growth, skill building. It is the perfect fit for that area of your life. When we're actually helping the brain restore function and repair all these different systems and get up and running and building thriving and uncovering the blocks, like why aren't you creating thriving here? The brain will tell us that, the mind body system will tell us, and then we help it resolve those things. This work is different. This work is really based on the survival system and whether or not it's going to allow healing to happen or not. So there's interventions that we use, specific ones, to talk to that part of the brain to send the safety signals in a way that that part of the brain will understand. It's not a talk center. It's not a rational center. It's not a thinking center. It doesn't care about what's right or wrong. It's not a moral center. It is not a moral center. And y'all know this, right? You've experienced like, why? Where did my morals go when I got triggered, right? This one only cares about survival, and it's very different, so we have to talk to it in its native language. And there are some interventions that I rely on here, and that we as humans rely on. There's many of them. I have my favorite four, and I want to share those with you. I want to give you a free opportunity to learn these from me and try them for yourself and see what happens when you start supporting this specific part of your brain. What happens? Okay, so the link to that program, it's a free program called Interventions for Inner World Transformation, is found in the link, the description part of this, and you can jump on there in 45 minutes. You'll learn three interventions, not four, three interventions. I teach my fourth one in my program, Inner World Transformation, because it has some negative side effects. These other three are very simple. They're fast. They're easy. There are no known side effects, and so they are usually very, mostly, I haven't heard any feedback otherwise, very safe to share. So I encourage you to try them and see for yourself what your mind body system can do for you and what happens if you provide it this different support. These interventions are a little weird. You're going to notice they're very different. We are targeting a different part of the brain. So that's it. Wonderful connecting with you. I hope that you have fun with these interventions. If you find one that works for you, you're going to know it. You're going to feel it in your body. You're going to notice symptoms shifting, changing, and maybe even resolving. The first time I used one of these, I resolved my insomnia like that. I never had to do it for that again. It was like, it took me, I used one round, which I didn't know what I was doing, so it was slow. And I yawned. I did the next round. I fell right to sleep. I didn't even choose to go to sleep. Just woke up the next morning and I was like, well, what else can I try this on? And so you might notice some really big things like that. And you might notice other things. All are great signs that your survival system really likes that support, and it can respond to it and allow healing to happen, unblocking the healing pathways, that healing process. So that's available for you. I encourage you to enroll in that. But also, if you find one that matches, I have a program that walks you through my process for resolving disorders, resolving symptoms, learning how to support the healing process, self-mastery, self-leadership, learning how to, instead of being a victim of your mind-body system, that you're actually a supporter, and very confidently so, and then also restoring function in each area of your life. So that's my program, Inner World Transformation. This is what I walk all my therapy clients through, all my coaching clients through, and I've made it available for whoever would like that. And so that's it. I invite you to start with the free program, or if you're feeling the vibe and you're like, no, I want to do the whole thing. The first part of the interventions are in there. I'll teach you those too. But you'll just keep going. And so you'll just open the door to the full process and resolve your stuff. I want to say your disorder, but I don't know. I'm not an advertising genius, so I don't want to get myself in trouble. But let me just say that many people have resolved their entire disorder using this program. I think that's fair. Okay. All right. I'll talk with you all later. Take care. Bye.